Do you think young people admire the dating style of Lori Harvey versus Sierra and Russell? That's a great question. I think that young people today admire both, but I feel like the young women that's out here just playing around, they admire Lori Harvey more because Sierra settled down. Lori Harvey didn't. So I think that they admire Lori Harvey more because she's been with so many men and she's like the prize. That's what they see her as, the prize, because she hasn't settled. She doesn't have a baby. She's out here trying to really understand what dating is for her. So they think that Lori Harvey is pretty much the GOAT, the greatest of all time when it comes to women living their best lives. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Chelsea's Live Line. I'm so excited to see y'all here in the chat. Want to give a shout out real quick to King J. Sean. Thank you for being here. He says, "What's up, Chelsea?" at Chiropractor, but I'm tuned in. All right, shout out to you. I hope everything works out for you as you're getting stretched out there. And shout out to Aunt Tracy for being here. I appreciate you, as well as my big sis Latanya from Cure for the Soul Ministries, y'all. So thank y'all so much for being here. Tonight's episode is called 5 Lessons from Lori Harvey's Dating Playbook. Yes, Lori Harvey, y'all know about her. That's the adopted child of Steve Harvey, Marjorie Harvey's biological daughter. We talk about her today. I want to give a shout out to Gail as well from tuning in. I appreciate that. As well as Chavis saying, "Greetings, Sister Chelsea and everyone watching. Hope all is well." And shout out to my auntie Carolyn for tuning in as well. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Yes. Let's get into this episode because Lori Harvey has been the talk of the town, especially because she's dating someone new. 7 months ago, from that first clip I started the show with, you can see that she was actually dating Michael B. Jordan at that time, the actor. They broke up, and now she's on to somebody new. Is that okay? Is that what women should do nowadays? That's what I'm going to be talking about today, because serial dating isn't really a lifestyle that a lot of people should live, but they do live that. And that's where we have contradicting morals and values, but we'll talk about that. So first, I'm going to get started with the word of the day, which is going to be coming from Ephesians 3:20, the New King James Version, which says the following: "Now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us." God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. So the question is, should we settle? Should we settle in friendships? Should we settle with family relationships? Should we settle in relationships in general? That's the question I have, because sometimes we do settle because we really are lowering God's capability. God told us not to settle. He said he can do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. But when we settle for something that's less than what we deserve, I think we are over here basically compromising our worth as one. And we also don't realize God can bless us better than what we can think. Okay, exceedingly abundantly. So just remember that. So that's why I said we should not settle. That's one thing I'll tell you. And that's one thing Lori definitely does not do, is settle. She doesn't do that, to be honest. And that's just what it is. But what I'm going to do is get into some words of the day. I want to teach y'all about some words such as hypergamy. If you haven't heard of that, hypergamy is simply this: it's marriage into an equal or higher caste or social group. Okay, that's what hypergamy is. And I think that's what Lori is participating in. She wants that lifestyle that matches up to the lifestyle that her father, Steve Harvey, and her mother, Marjorie Harvey, have provided for her. Why should she settle and go for somebody less than? And see, before I even get into more about hypergamy, I really want to say is that a lot of women were calling Lori Harvey out because she broke up with Michael B. Jordan. And they're saying, not Michael B. Jordan, not Michael B. Jordan. But y'all don't know you don't know who Michael is, and y'all know what Michael B. doing, okay? Y'all don't know. Just because we see him as an actor doesn't mean we know his entire lifestyle. And I want y'all to fill out that poll that I put in the chat as well, asking, is Lori Harvey for the streets? Yes, no, maybe so. Let me know, but I'll be looking for y'all responses momentarily there, okay? But seriously, I think that she's living this hypergamous lifestyle because it's like mother, like daughter. Let me give you a little background information, but Lori Harvey's mother, who is Marjorie, as you can see here, met Steve back in the 1980s, 1990s. They went together for a few years. At that time, Steve Harvey was living out of his car. He said he was homeless, and she ended up moving on, getting married. Steve ended up moving on, getting married. And then they reconnected years later in the 2000s. They reconnected, and I think they got married in 2007. Okay, and they've been married ever since. But she didn't stay with him when he was potential, when he was just Steve doing the little comedy club gigs. She didn't stay with him. She put him on the back burner, and she continued to live her best life with the drug dealer men that she was married to. That's what she knew. She knew about that fast money lifestyle, and that's what she liked. But Steve was not living up to her standards at that time, so she moved on. But eventually Steve came back with his player game and they ended up getting married. So that's just how the story went for Marjorie. And I think Lori has learned a lot from Marjorie's playbook, the dating playbook. And that's how she's been successful as well with her relationships. But yeah, that's a little bit about Marjorie. But what I'll do at this point in time is tell you more about hypergamy and all of that. So hypogamy is another word. Hypogamy is the total opposite of hypergamy, which means marriage into a lower caste, class, or social group. That's what a lot of people are doing today. They're not doing hypergamy, which means to marriage into an equal or higher caste or social group. They're doing hypogamy, okay? Hypogamy, which means marriage into a lower caste system. You're settling. And as a woman, if we really want that provider, I don't know if we should be over here practicing hypogamy here. That means to marry somebody who makes less than you. Because if you're living a certain lifestyle right now, then why would you want to get out of that lifestyle and settle? For example, if you're buying these material items that you have, why would you want to compromise and not buy that anymore because of a man who may feel some type of way about you buying it now that you're married to him? So think about those lifestyles that you have prior to you getting into a marriage so you can realize if you want to be bothered with that or not. Because most women don't want to put up with that. Just saying. But let me give out my disclaimer, of course. It's mindset over money for me. Although I have dated people who have made less than me in the past, my goal is to have to date and marry somebody who makes equal or greater than me. That is my goal because I just know that's the kind of lifestyle I would like to live. But depending on your lifestyle, you have different standards, right? But mindset over money, okay? It doesn't matter how much money you have, because if you're miserable with little money, you're going to be miserable with a lot of money. If you don't know how to manage the little money you have, you won't know how to manage the big amount of money that you get one day. So that's why I say it's mindset over money. Mindset is greater than money, okay? Because as we know, 1 Timothy tells us this. 1 Timothy 6:10-11 tells us the following. It says, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs," okay? If you love money, that's where the problem comes in. But some Christians think we should be poor at times. That's when you have to realign your mindset to realize that, no, you don't have to be poor and be a Christian. You can have a lifestyle, a lavish lifestyle at that, but don't just love it more than you love God. Realize who gave you that money. Realize the source. Love the giver more than the gift. That's the word. Love the giver more than the gift, and then you'll be okay. So the question I have is, why are we mad at Lori? Because I know there's a lot of people who are mad at Lori and the lifestyle that she is living. And I want to know why that is, because there are some women that are mad at Lori, and there are some men that are mad at Lori, but we don't know her. All I'm doing is I'm getting an outside perspective based off of the information we've heard from the blog sites. And we've come up to these conclusions about her lifestyle and how it's not best for all, right? Let me just give you a little background about Lori if you don't know about her. But Lori Harvey, she dated Michael B. Jordan. That was one of her recent relationships. According to blog sites, she's also dated Diddy and Diddy's son. She's dated Trey Songz as well. Right? And you know how DMX was like, there was Brenda, Letitia, Linda, Felicia. I'm like, there was Michael, Diddy's son, Trey Songz, and the list goes on, right? That's the sad part about it. She has this history. She's building up this resume. And I don't want my resume for my modeling career to be as extensive or more extensive than my resume is for my dating life. Okay? Body counts matter. And I just don't believe that you out here being a virgin and all these men over here whining and dining you to this extent. Okay? I don't know. But let me read these comments though. Shout out to my brother Harrison Family Values for being here. I appreciate you so much. Yes. But she's like, she belongs to the streets. That's what Future said in the Future voice. And shout out to my big sis Mona for being here as well. Lori, does she belong to the streets? Because I think it's one thing to date. It's one thing to learn yourself, but there's only so much learning you can do before it's time to settle down. That's my problem I have with Lori going out to date all these people. You're creating this extensive resume of men that you dated. What are you accomplishing? And at one point in time, Lori was actually engaged. I think she may have been 21 at the time. She was engaged to, I believe, a soccer player. but that didn't work out. And she said she was young and trying to figure herself out. So how much figuring out do you have to do? And I don't think you figure yourself out by getting under another man. Just like for men, I don't think figuring yourself out is getting under another woman. It doesn't work. Those are rebound relationships. And it's not sustainable long term, in my opinion. Okay? It's just not making sense to me. But I think that, some women may be mad at Lori because maybe they felt like, especially like maybe some older women may have felt that, okay, I did this same lifestyle that Lori did and I did not succeed in it. That's one of the reasons women can be mad. Also, women can be mad because maybe they were baby mamas. They were having their best life, but they're not like Lori. Lori isn't a baby mother at this point. And prayerfully, she doesn't become one, because that would just put the city girls down by thousands of points. Okay. So I pray she doesn't become a baby mama. I pray she becomes a wife first. I really do, because that would make her look so bad if that goes down. But that's why some women are mad, because maybe they became a baby mother. Maybe they had their fun, but now they don't have a husband because they were doing the same thing Lori was doing. But I think Lori has options because of, one, Lori's beauty. Two, the family that she comes from. That's another thing that matters. And she's learned so much from her mother. Like mother, like daughter. Why some men are mad at Lori? Some men are mad at Lori because look at, like, two can play that game where she's a woman doing the same things that men usually do. Men are exercising their options, but men do not feel like women should exercise their options. I feel like that is a double standard, and that's not right. I just feel like that's a double standard. If men can exercise options, women can as well. But we got to know we on a different timeline. But still, if you got that youthfulness left and she wanted to do that, that's what she wants to do. I'm not endorsing any of it, okay? Yes, I'm not endorsing any of it. Just saying. But I'm reading these comments. Aunt Tracy said, I think some people are just unhappy because they want to be in her shoes. Exactly. Some people do want to be in her shoes. They do. And that's what you got to realize, that based off of your age, based off of other factors, you may not be a Lori Harvey. Depending, if you're not Lori Harvey, you can't be her. And I would want to strive to be like anybody anyway, but some people do. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, old enough to thought, yet too young for marriage. See, that's another factor right there. Yes, you want to be out here living your best life and basically building up this body count, building up this resume of men, but you could have just been with the one man, but she said she wanted to learn herself. That's what she said. Yeah. And exactly, we don't know how serious the relationships are. And I'm going to get into my 5 lessons in just a second. Okay, but I'm reading our comments where Chavis said, I'm not mad at Lori. I'm just concerned about her, Cardi, City Girls, and Megan influencing the next generations of girls. Exactly. And then lastly, some men could be mad at her because they actually want her. They want a woman that looks like her. Or maybe they've settled for something less and they're saying, hey, she's out here, she's a good woman, but I can't have her. Sometimes men think like that as well, because they can't have her because they don't have the money to get her. And yes, Lori Harvey uses her beauty to her advantage. I think that a woman using her beauty to her advantage is the same or the equivalent as a man using his money to his advantage. I think a woman's beauty is equivalent to a man's money, and that's kind of what she's doing. She's using her beauty because that's what's going to lure those men in. All right? And shout out to Successful Melanated Dusty for being here as well. I appreciate you. What I'm going to do is talk about some clips, right? Because this is another reason that men are mad at Lori. Remember how Meek Mill had this one song that said, I want Lori Harvey on my wish list, right? Well, he's talking about now he's taking Lori Harvey off his wish list, and he was kind of shading her in his tweets recently. So let's take a look at this.
The rapper Meek Mill caught a lot of backlash because people thought he was shading Lori Harvey. When the news came out that Lori and Damson were dating, he posted an interesting tweet saying this, y'all let that gal F anybody. Now, some people felt like Meek Mill was being salty because Lori never gave him a chance. Some years back, Meek gave Lori a huge shout out on his song Going Bad and said Lori was on his wish list, but Lori still never paid him any mind. So after that, he took Lori off his wish list.
Hold on, I took Lori already off my wish list.
Now people are accusing him of shading Lori now because they think he's still salty. Meek, however, tried to clear it up and say, Damson, my real friend, the Shade Room posted and made it seem as if I'm coming at him and his lady, the F. These sites ruin many friendships and families. Seeing all that negativity, you become that. I stay away from people that live in those comments. They be secretly miserable.
That's what he had to say. And it seemed like he was over here trying to be shady with his tweets. Exactly. He was butthurt and he don't want to admit it. But for you to tweet that, at that same time around their announcement of them going together, you obviously wanted that girl. And why would you even write about her, make her relevant in your music if you didn't want her? Okay? Make it make sense. Yes. And Aunt Tracy said, perhaps she just wants to get it right and marry the right man. No one asked about what may be the problem with the men in her life. And see, they were saying, don't do Michael B. Jordan like that. But we don't know how Michael be. Okay? We don't know how Michael be. We don't know how Michael is. So we can't say, what I like is the fact that she gets out of stuff quick, and we're just going to get into it right now, okay? But I really think is that her character of some of the characters of some of the men that she's with is really a low quality. For example, Future ain't going to give you a future. I'll say this again. Future ain't going to give you a future that you may want. That's what it is. Why would you think that you should go with a rapper? And the funny part about it is that her mother actually told her. Her mother gave her some advice years ago about what type of men she should go with. So let's take a look at this clip as Marjorie gives advice to Lori.
Okay, no athletes, no rappers. We're going to go down the list.
When it comes to dating, my mom has nothing to worry about. I got this.
Don't ever try to fit in when God has clearly created you to stand out. Always be a lady. And understand, you are the prize. Don't give yourself to anybody that is not going to be your husband. If they love you, if they really care about you, they'll wait on you. Steve and I have been drilling this into our daughters for forever. You always carry yourself like a lady. Being a lady never goes out of style.
I like that. Now, I do like the fact that she said being a lady never goes out of style. And we need to bring that back because it has seemed to go out of style based off of, like Chavis was saying earlier, City Girls, Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, all these women that are showcasing a lifestyle that is the total opposite of a classy woman. Just saying. Facts. A classy woman, being a lady never goes out of style. And one thing I'll tell you about Marjorie, that lady can dress, okay? These are just some of the pictures, but that lady can dress. So I will follow you for the beauty tips, okay? I will follow you for that. Lifestyle, that's a different thing. But what I do love is the fact that that lady is dressing. Lady, if I make it out here in this world, I need you as my stylist. I'm just going to say, like, that lady can dress. And that's just how it is. The outfits be outfitting, okay? Seriously. And she is classy. That's one thing you could say about her. She is classy and they look good together. Shout out to y'all. And I think she's instilled some really good things into her daughter as far as her knowing her worth, because there are so many women out today that do not know their worth. Chavis said, those who see Lori's resume and dating life, along with how her mom is, yes, are setting themselves up for being licks. Lori is pretty, but her soul screams petty. I love that. Lori is pretty, but her soul screams petty. Yes. Successful melanated Dusty, or successful MD. I guess he on that doctor status now, but he said, my issue is that they seem to take life as a game. You could adapt the spirit and energy of those that you gravitate to easily. It takes a moment to create a memory and a whole lifetime to forget it. Exactly. And obviously my mom could be my stylist. That's who she's my stylist now. So I'm just saying, if it ain't my mama, it could be you, Marjorie. So yes. All right, let's keep this going. So that's what she said. That's what she learned from her mother. Do you think she took those lessons? Obviously, that was like 7 years ago when she told her, don't date the athletes, don't date the rappers. She literally got engaged to a soccer player. That's an athlete. She was going with Future. That's a rapper. The list goes on. I don't know if she's really listening as much as she says she is. All right, let's get into the 5 lessons from Lori Harvey's dating playbook. What can we learn from her? Because every lesson can be used for every purpose. For example, a lesson can be good or bad. That's what we got to realize. So let's get into the first lesson that I've learned from Lori Harvey's playbook. She doesn't compromise her peace, her standards, and her values. It's as simple as that. She doesn't compromise them. She set the standard because we know that we should build our foundation not on sand, right? Because Matthew 7:26 tells us a foolish man builds his house on sand, okay? But you need to build your foundation on rock. The same thing with relationships. We get into a relationship and somebody asks us what we're looking for, what we want in a mate. And we're like, somebody who's kind, loving, this and that. But as soon as they mistreat us, we say, okay, I'm going to let you get away with it this one time. Then it becomes a second, a third, and it's a continuous cycle from that point on, all because we let lust lead us instead of the foundation. Okay, forget how they look like. That's important. And you can be like, okay, I like this person because they're attractive, but don't let that be the reason that you stay with them after they continually do you wrong. And it's a learning lesson because you become Stevie Wonder to everything that's going on. And you wonder why you stay in it so long because you just get used to it. Like you sit in your S too long. Like Jennifer Lewis said, you sit in your S too long and you forget that it stinks. For real. So come up on out of there. That's what Jennifer Lewis said, okay? Like you sit in your ish too long and you forget what it smells like. Come up on out of there because reality is, it smells. Reality is you're staying in stuff too long that you need to remove yourself from. And that's one thing she does, is that she doesn't compromise her values. She knows her worth. Because the question of the day is, why settle? Why settle, y'all? Because the options are few, slim pickings. Do y'all know that there are so many people out here in this world? There are billions of people in this world. But we settle for the ones that are in our area and say, oh, he's all right. He's okay. He's not really God-fearing, but he's a nice guy. He's this and that. No, if he's not being led by God, then he shouldn't be leading you. Why settle? The reason I ask this question is because I'm reading Sis Don't Settle by Judge Faith Jenkins Lattimore for the second time. I read Sis Don't Settle at one point in time where I was actually settling. And now that I'm not settling anymore, thank you, Lord. I'm in a different season where I'm not settling anymore. I'm reading this book and it gives me a different perspective because I was reading it while settling the previous time. That's what I'm saying. We deserve to not settle. Woman or man, you shouldn't be settling. That's it. Okay? Just because they're available doesn't mean that they're the one that's available for you and that they should be with you. Let me tell you, people could be in my DMs right now saying, can I be your friend? Oh, I like you, want to get to know you, this and that. But you don't have to respond to that. All attention, like Latera said from Dear Future Wife, he said, attention doesn't mean intention. You got to know what the intention is of that person because attention will have us going with anybody who gives us the time of day. That's what I'm telling you. Don't settle. That's what she's not doing. She's picking high caliber men now. The Future, I don't know what that was for. Future and other few of the rappers, I don't know what they were for. But Michael B. Jordan's, people of that, those are high caliber men. High quality men, it seems like, based off of what we see. But that doesn't mean that we should settle, no matter what. And shout out to Grandma Joe for tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. She said, hello all from Grants Pass, Oregon. Oh, nice. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Let's continue this conversation, okay? Latanya said, I agree. I love how she said she drilled it in her. But what else did she drill in her? She's very charming, enchanting. See, that's what I'm saying. She drilled that in her, but she also drilled in the same lifestyle that Marjorie was living in her as well. Marjorie always went for the bag, okay? Marjorie went for the bag. And I know she's reminding her daughter to do the same. But I'm saying, time is going to pass you by and you might not be able to do the same thing that Marjorie did. You may not be Marjorie Harvey Jr. You may not be her, Lori. I don't know, but this is the thing for me. The way for me to know myself, the way I get to know myself is not by jumping into another relationship. It's by sitting back, reflecting on what I did wrong, and trying to figure out a way to not repeat the same mistakes I did before. That's how I figure out what I like, what I don't like. It doesn't take me going with X amount of men. 2 relationships was enough for me. 2 relationships was enough for me to figure out that I don't want to be bothered with a lot of things and that I do want to be bothered with some things. That's why I won't settle anymore because it took 2 times for me. I don't need more than that. But for her, you have all these different men that we can't count on one hand already at the age of 26. What is going on? Lesson number 2. Well, before I even get into lesson number 2, I want to say this. She had an episode. She did a particular interview with Tiana Taylor. And then they talked about a lot of things about her saying she wouldn't settle, what makes her powerful. So let's watch a few of these clips so we can understand Lori's perspective because I actually have a respect for her on the fact that she doesn't settle. But let's watch some of these and see what she has to say about herself.
Describe how taking control improves the overall dating experience.
I think you'll just be happier at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'm very much in a space right now where I'm not doing anything that's going to compromise my peace and happiness.
Period.
So I think just taking control, making sure you maintain your power, don't give your power away to anybody. That I feel like is the key to truly being happy in or out of a relationship.
Okay, well, on a more positive note, what make you feel powerful when dating?
Not compromising my values and my standards and my requirements.
See, you cannot compromise. And I love seeing that from somebody who's young saying they're not going to compromise because we don't have to compromise. Nobody has to. And I think that a lot of people may be in situations that they are in and that they may regret all because they compromised. And I don't want to be like that. I'd rather date, not serial date with intention, date with purpose than to marry wrong. because this is a life partner. We always, when we're taking a home tour, we always look at the finer details. Oh, I see a little nick on that counter. Oh, I see a little scratch on that refrigerator. Oh, the walls are uneven. I see all this when I'm doing this house tour, but we don't pay attention to the mate who has signed up to be our partner for life. We don't pay attention to the details for that person. And we just say, oh, I'm going to ignore that red flag all because it was bright red. Okay? It's bright red, but I'm going to ignore it because I pay attention to the darker reds. No, red is still red at the end of the day. And if you ignore it now, you will be regretting it later. And I don't want to do that. I want to do things the right way because I'm learning through these relationships, okay? But I don't think it takes all those relationships to get it right. Serial dating, as in SERIAL dating, not the cereal you eat, people, for those. But no, for real, serial dating is not the way to go. You're not going to find yourself. You're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble doing serial dating, but you won't find yourself, who you are, because you're going to be customizing your life to all the people you're dealing with. Can you be by yourself for a second? That's how you can tell if you're really meant to be single, because a lot of people don't know what single means, all right? They don't know. Exactly. G-Mon Joe, date with intention. Love Chelsea, always dropping the stinkers. Oh, thank you so much. She said she always inspires me. Thank you. And so do you, G-Mon Joe. So thank you so much. I appreciate y'all in this chat. I saw my bro Jermaine in the chat as well. Thank y'all just for being here. I appreciate that. Amen. Amen. I see y'all. But I'm just going to continue this. I don't want to marry wrong. I want to do this thing the right way, but you have to be discerning. You have to move with intention. And you have to realize that every move you make isn't just for you. For one, that move that you make should be to glorify God. Hello? It should be to glorify God. That's who the move should be for. Because I don't know. God did not tell you to date no future. Okay? That's just what it is. He didn't tell you to date no future. He said, look, take a look at your future, but you took that the wrong way. See, this is when you say, well, God told me this, God told me that. God did not tell you to date future. He told you to look at your future, but you said, oh, you said date future. All right, let me do that. Y'all knew future was for the streets when you saw all these baby mamas that he had. But y'all are misinterpreting things and want to say, I'm going to just go ahead and date him and see if I can change him. That's the problem. You can't change anybody but yourself if you want to. And that sometimes is hard, as we all know. We expect to change somebody else, but we can't even change ourselves. We've been doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results. Living insane lifestyles, but think we can change somebody else. If they're not going to listen to themselves, they dang sure. They dang sure ain't going to listen to you. That's the problem. We want to we want to fix projects up, women and men. We want to fix these projects. Take these people as they are. Mary J. Blige said it best. Take me as I am or have nothing at all. And that's how I look at things now. When I get into something and I see something I don't like, and it's something I don't like for real, it's a standard, it's a requirement, it's a non-negotiable, I'm not going to compromise on that, because if I do, it's only going to hurt me later on. So I'm with her 100% about the fact we should not compromise our peace, our standards, our values by settling. Only settling I'm doing is settling down when God says so. But other than that, I'm not settling on any of the values I have set in stone. Okay? No, we're not compromising. Like, why would we do that? I'm just saying, I don't know why some Christian people think we should compromise on things that we know are standards. You can compromise on things here and there, but compromising on the standards, the foundation, now you over here sinking in the sand, all because you are over here thinking you was going to the promised land, but you were really going to playland. Don't do it. Lesson number 2 that Lori has in her dating playbook. It's an imaginary playbook, but I'm just thinking about, based off of what I've seen from her, these are the lessons I've learned. She knows how to exit stage left. Okay? She sees the sign, she moves. Her relationships are not too long. We know that some women have been long-term girlfriends for I don't know how long and thinking that they have common law benefits. No, you should not end up as a special friend in the obituary because you are this man's special friend. Exit stage left. This man has proved himself to you several times over and over again, but you stay because you don't know how to be alone. If only you knew how to be alone, then you wouldn't be able to have him making a fool out of yourself like you're doing. So exit stage left. My favorite motto for women is, this is what y'all follow sometimes, but y'all shouldn't follow. This is my favorite analogy. He had early check-in to your life, but late checkout, right? This is how I'm going to explain this tonight. Early check-in, late checkout. You don't want to have that. You checking into the hotel, you got the early check-in benefits, so you think you're doing something, but you got to pay them late checkout fees when he has Utilize all your youth. You've been with him all these years just as a girlfriend, playing that wife role. He calling you wifey. His mother's calling you daughter-in-law, or daughter-in-love. Y'all doing all these titles, but you don't have the ring. You don't have the paperwork. And a marriage is not just paperwork. You get what I'm saying? It's not just paperwork. And for him to repeat that and you think that you should be a wife one day, but he's not on the same page as you, that's when you know you set yourself up for failure. And you have the early check-in, late check-out, because you got to get back out in this world and start back over from scratch. He done left you with a child. Now you just on a baby mama status. And you're trying to figure out how to do life again. I don't want women to be like that. That's why I say it's so important that don't let a man play with you during your youth to the point where you just a baby mama. You don't have no titles, no nothing. And now you want to get back out here 40, 50 plus and do it all over again. And it's not going to be the same because the dating pool has shrunk some. There's options, but it has shrunk some because you basically passed all the good options while they were presented to you. And then now you have slim pickings and you kind of want to go back to those old options you had, but you can't go back to them because now they wifed up. They get wifed up, husband up, right? These men have husbands now. Excuse me. Whoa. These men have wives now, right? So I'm going to scratch that out. You know how to play that stuff. But let me just explain this again. What I'm trying to say is that, let's say you were in high school and there was this nice guy. He was considered a nerd. He was considered a nerd, but just a nice guy. And he really was into you, but you weren't into him. You passed him up, but the future guy comes in and he got that swag and he's looking good to you. So you accept his deal instead of taking the guy's deal that you knew would have given you the lifestyle you really desire, but you said, no, I'm not ready to settle down yet. So now here this future guy go, taking up all your years. And then now here you go. You can't, just don't have any benefits. You don't have any benefits as a girlfriend. So check yourself out early. Early check in, early check out if needed be, if it's not serving you. Just saying. And that's what Lori Harvey does. She does the early check in, early check out. She gets into the relationship. She don't see things are working out the way she wants it to be, those 6 months, a year time frame, and she's moving on. It's the best way to do. I'm just saying, it's the best way to do. Look, daughter-in-law, shout out to you, KL. He said he and his mama capping straight up. And shout out to you, Killer Swag, for being here. I appreciate you. 216 represent Cleveland. All right. If that's where you're from, shout out to you. See, wasting your good young years in a relationship with no plans. Y'all haven't sat down for anything. What are we doing here? Seriously. Left with no self-esteem, depleted of your resources, your time. And see, that's when you see women really out here looking bitter sometimes because that man has sucked up all the happiness out of them because they gave it to them. But just imagine if you invested that happiness into a husband and then you could walk around here proud to be a wife. Just wondering. Coach Harry said, facts. I got too many 35 plus women, right? Women friends out here struggling to find a man. Yes, 216 represent. I got family in Cleveland. Shout out to you. He said, correct, Chelsea. Salute to you and your content. Yes, represent. All right, let's go. Let's continue this. So again, early check-in, late check-out. She says she gets out of stuff that doesn't serve her. I'm with that because for me, the max amount of time I spent into a relationship was 1 year. Got out of it. And it feels good to be out of it because literally 1 year of a relationship, it could take a lifetime to forget those memories. You have to be careful about who you give your time to. And most of the time, we really get to see how a person is at that 6 month mark. And that really gives you an idea, a really good sneak peek as to how that person is. Unless they're a con artist. Then you have to deal with them a little longer if you want to. But for me, I try to get in and out because if you're not serving me, if this is not God ordained, I'm going to just leave it and leave it like that. Okay? That's lesson 2. Lesson 3 from Lori Harvey's Playbook. She knows her worth all because her mother and father have instilled that into her. They've drilled that into her. So that's what she knows. She knows her worth. And that's where Marjorie came in and said, hey, you are the prize. But hearing that sometimes can be toxic. You are the prize. You are the prize. But you just have to know your value. So however they instill that into you, there are verses that say you're far more precious than rubies. But saying you are the prize makes it seem that like I'm going to be a little selfish. And, if I don't get my way, it's the highway. And that's where you have a problem because relationships are about compromising. Let's be realistic here. You definitely know your worth, but don't let somebody diminish your worth as well. So I think there's, you can say you are the prize, but just realize that, you can't just be the prize by yourself. Okay. The relationship should be the prize as well. Okay. That's what I gotta say about that one. Lesson number four. She doesn't want the baby mama lifestyle. And thankfully, with the people she's been with, she hasn't become a baby mama yet. That's what I was saying earlier. She is still just a girlfriend or whatever the case may be. But she's not a baby mama. So for that reason, a lot of women who want to live her lifestyle, they may be baby mothers, because I really don't even like that term, but they may be baby mothers, but you can't be like Lori, because Lori is not a baby mother. So do not compare yourself. That's not apples to apples at that point. Okay? That's not apples to apples. Just saying. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. Many overvalue themselves as they lack quality characteristics, because beauty alone isn't going to let a man keep you. There's a lot of women who've been cheated on because they've been cheated on. Not because, like just because you're beautiful doesn't prevent a man from cheating on you. Okay? Facts. The man or woman can be your everything in terms of checking off boxes that are unrealistic. Right. I agree with that. 100%. So she doesn't want the baby mama lifestyle. So she's being safe with that. That's one thing I will say. And it does make people egotistical. You are the prize. You are the prize. But I pray that she doesn't let all these years pass by and loses opportunities for good men. I pray about that, because right now she's with the guy on the right, Damson. I think his name is Damson, whatever. Damson Idris, something of that nature. But he's an actor, the main actor in Snowfall. I think it's called Snowfall. Lord help me. I think it's called Snowfall. Yeah, Snowfall. See, I don't be watching TV like that, so I'll be having to look these things up. But he is an actor. That's who she's with now. And people think it's a publicity stunt. Yeah. One thing about her relationship with him is the fact that I heard, according to one of the blog sites, is that he has a great relationship with one of his exes, but hearing Lori say what she's about to say on this little clip here is very contradictory. So let's take a listen to this.
Okay, so if you had a red, what would it be?
I would say if you're too close to your exes, that's a red flag. It's like,
Cordial, cool.
Cordial, okay, you speak. I don't want y'all to have beef yet, okay? Because then that gets messy.
So how would you take it if it was genuine? Nah. It's like...
It's not adding up for me.
It's not. Because I feel like if y'all going to be that level of close, then we don't need to be doing this. Like, y'all should still try and probably figure that out or work that out.
Yeah, then also, too, it's like, on the flip, how would you feel? Are you cool if I'm still cool with my exes?
And that's my thing. Don't dish what you can't take.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nah, I feel that.
Yep. So definitely those exes are a totally different topic, though. As y'all know, I'm beginning to that on a different episode about being friends with exes. I've talked about it. Can exes be friends? I've had a panel discussion about that. We've gotten to our conclusion that no, you exes cannot be friends. So I agree with her on that. And the fact is that he has said in some of his interviews with the Breakfast Club that his ex is always going to be around. So pretty much the woman that comes into his life is going to have to deal with that. I'm not signing up for that. And that's one thing for me. I've gone on a date before where a guy said, oh, I have my ex as friend. My ex is a friend of mine. I have her pictures on my social media. And best believe that was one of the last times we talked, because I'm not going to put up with that. I don't put up with that. That's a non-negotiable for me. If exes are a friend of yours, we will not be conversating. This is the end of the conversation. Do not contact me again. That's just how it is. I don't deal with exes. I don't deal with a bunch of female friends. And that's just my standards. And I will not compromise on those standards. Ever. Okay? That's just it. And it was like our past live that I had where I had the panel and y'all came up and talked about exes being friends and how it's really not a good thing to happen. Just saying. No, not happening. Just can't do it. Sorry. So that's just one thing I would not be compromising on. I'd rather be single than deal with a man whose exes are still his friends. That's it. But yep. So do you think that, Lori Harvey, is she still learning herself? Is that what y'all think? Because this is what she had to say about learning herself.
Especially like too being young and dating and trying to figure it out, and like you're trying to find yourself at the same time. Like I think that was it for me. I think because I was young, I was still trying to figure out who I was and what do I like and what don't I like. But you also have this person in your ear and they're kind of like influencing things, so you kind of get confused. Like, okay, well, do I really like this or do I like it because you like it? You know. So I think into having I have like a great support system around me too, to like check me and be like, hey, like, what you doing? You good? You need to shake out of it and maybe be like, okay, yeah, you're right, I'm tripping, I'm good regardless. And I think that was really like the point that I had to get to of like, you're good regardless. Well, however this shakes out, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So like I think once you know that, then you're like, oh, I'm straight.
I love that.
It is a little bit more tough your whole life being in front of the screen. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, it's
being
like you
in
have a
the light.
microscope on you.
Yes. He said, cha. But seriously, about those exes, yeah, we don't play that stuff over here. Truth is said, hey, gotta get rid of exes, right? And I know for you being married, especially, like that's a conversation you probably had with your wife prior to as well about them exes. Cause honey, ain't nobody got time for that. I don't have time for that. And gracious greatness, amen to that. I pray we are led by God. Okay? Can I get a amen for that? 1 second. Here we go. Yes, I pray we are led by God in all relationships to bear fruit for God. We are the Lord's ambassadors. Amen to that, brother. Amen. Because that's so important. We have to bear fruit. Okay? We have to be fruitful. I agree with that. And not gracious greatness this time, but Coach Harry said, learning yourself is a delay tactic. Yes, we spend our lives doing that, we spend our lives. I got you. Okay, we spend our lives doing that, but it makes women delay looking for relationships. So I'm gonna read that one again. Learning yourself is a delay tactic. We spend our lives doing that, but it makes women delay looking for relationships. Yeah, because it's only so much finding yourself you can do. Just imagine, and shout out to Christina for being here, but just imagine you trying to find yourself, you're going around in a circle. That's what I envision it as when a woman says, I'm trying to find myself. I'm trying to learn myself. What you been doing for these past 26 years? What have you been doing? You've been with yourself every day. You ain't learned yourself by now? Goodness, think about that for a second though. When you talk about, I'm trying to learn myself, then that means that what do you be doing with your time? And see, that's what we have to do. Sometimes we have to be alone to really learn ourselves. I'm so thankful that at this point in time, as I'm by myself in my single season, I'm learning myself. And when somebody comes in, I already know what I want. When somebody comes in, I already know what I want because I've dealt with enough people, 2 people, ain't nobody for the streets over here. I've dealt with 2 people. I've dealt with enough experiences through those 2 people to know what I will and will not put up with. And Latanya said, I believe we need to learn ourselves, certainly, if you keep jumping in and out of relationships. I agree with that. See, that's what I'm saying. Jumping in and out of relationships means that you don't know what you want. You haven't learned yourself. And I don't think you need to keep jumping into things to do that. Yep, you definitely need to spend time learning yourself. Exactly. Just wasting time. And I pray she settles down at some point soon before it's too late. I pray. I really do. But she said she learned the game from her brothers. And that's why she said, hey, that's why she gets in and out stuff real quickly. And she basically acts according to how that man treats her. So let's watch what she has to say about this.
Do y'all feel like y'all relationship people?
Yeah.
Me too.
It's like, I'm like you. I grew up with brothers. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
I was like, all right, I know how this is going down. And I'm going to move
accordingly. You beat him to the punch.
Yeah, I'm just going to move accordingly. And also, like, I almost got married very young. Mm-hmm. And so I think after that, it made me be like, okay, I felt like I hadn't really experienced anything. I didn't really know myself. I didn't really know what I liked, what I didn't like. I just feel like I hadn't really experienced life. So I think at that point, then I was like, okay, I'm about to, like I said, just date on my terms. And, like, however I want to move, whatever I want to do, I'm going to do it. And if it's no longer serving me, I'm going to move on.
Yep, and that's what she said. We talked about that earlier about how the fact is that, hey, she understands the game. She has brothers that have taught her the game. And I think she's really acting like a lady, thinking like a man. Steve's book, right? Steve wrote that book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. The movies are out there and everything. But I think that's how she's moving. I think that there's nothing wrong. I think it's something wrong with serial dating. I definitely agree with that. I'm not going to be out here doing that because I obviously have feelings for the people that I date, that I get into a relationship with. That's how I move. But she seems like she's heartless. She don't seem like she has any feelings, which is just how it is. Lesson number 5. She has options. And I really should have put an asterisk mark. So let me do that real quick. But she has options. The reason I put the asterisk mark is because it's at this moment. 10 years from now, will she still have them options? No, because a lot of those men will be settled down with somebody else right now. Might be with another ethnicity, all because we want to play games and think we can live our best lives and the clock is not ticking. Y'all doing all these dances, but the clock is still ticking. It's not going to stop for you. It's not going to make you feel youthful. I don't care how much you dye your hair, you're still getting old. You know what I'm saying? We have to face reality for what it is. And that's why I just really pray that she understands that at a certain point in time, she may want to have kids, and that you should try to get your career to where you want it to, but don't let your career block your blessings at the same time. But she's really opened my eyes. Yes, she's into quantity versus quality. Yep, I think so. Too many games being played. Okay? Too many games. And yeah, don't drop them. But yeah, she's playing too many games, and I just don't think the serial dating is for everyone. She's preaching the wrong thing, and a lot of women look up to her, whether it's for her beauty or for the games she played with men, because I think she's doing what a lot of men are doing, and now that the coin is basically flipped, men are looking at her like, dang, she's doing what we're doing, so, I'm going to just kind of like side-eye her, right? Successful Melanated Dusty says, everyone is an option for someone, but may not be the right choice. Yep, there you go. Those are bars. I will give you those, those bars right there. Straight up. Yes. And see, like, for me, I don't have to get into another relationship until it's time to marry, right? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm dating to marry. So anybody I get into a relationship with, they're marriage-minded, they've met my standards, and that's what it is. But because anybody, like you said, anybody can have options. You can have people in the DM sending you messages saying, I'm interested in you. But if you're not interested in them, you can't make yourself become interested in them. That's just what it is. And you want to have good, solid men as well, which Mona's saying down here. She says, TK Kirkland says, there's girls graduating from college every June. She'll be passed up by available men for younger women. Exactly. And she said, and good, solid men, I should say. I agree with that. And she's quick to go public. So what's that all about? Right? Because I heard there's something going on where she has men sign an NDA, a disclosure agreement. Yeah, which if they say anything about the relationship outside of the terms of this agreement, then they have to pay $1 million, I've heard. Okay, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. But that's what they're saying about her. I don't know. Beautiful girl, but I pray that her brains are just as powerful as her beauty is. That's what I pray. I pray that she could find the one for her. And I pray she can be an example. I pray eventually she gets the opportunity to settle down with the right one that she wants. That's what it's all about. I think, but I don't know, she had the opportunity to get married, but she was young. And maybe she wasn't mature at that point. Hopefully she grows in maturity. I pray. But definitely, attention seeker, validation chaser. Yep. Everyone wants to be a free agent until nobody wants you on their team anymore. Exactly. That's bars. I will give you that. That is bars right there. So yeah, let's review these lessons learned from Lori once again. Lesson number 1 is that she doesn't compromise her peace, her standards, her values. She knows what she wants, and she's not putting up for anything less. Because again, I agree with her. Why settle? As Christian women, sometimes they be like, a Christian man's available. I'm in this one group on Facebook. This has Christian men and Christian women in it. And, the Christian men are many to choose from when it comes to looks. They may be meeting me on a lot of my standards, but if they're unattractive to me, then I can't force myself to put up with that. So in my case, I will not settle, because I don't think God would want a God-fearing woman to be with a ugly God-fearing man. I think God would want a God-fearing woman who's decent looking to be with a decent looking God-fearing man, and vice versa. I just think that's fair. Okay? I think that's fair. So for that reason, I won't settle, because you don't have to just pick somebody just because they're nice to you if they don't look like something that's nice to you. I want something that looks good to me as well. I really do. I do. I mean, I think we all, as Christian women and Christian men, want somebody we desire with our eyes. Yes, God made beautiful people. Exactly. People like, that's God's creation. But if I'm not attracted to that particular creation of God, then that's just what it is. But God did make some beautiful people. You say all of them. Beautiful in some way. You're right. Beautiful in some way, shape, or form. Whether that is beautiful spirit, beautiful on the outside, whatever that may be. If there's no attraction, it's just not happening. Can't do it. I can't help it if I wanted to. Can't help it even if I could. No.
Who gonna check me, boo?
Yes, he did. He makes beautiful people, all of them, and beautiful in one aspect or the other. You ain't lying. Okay, I can't help it. If I wanted to, I wouldn't help it, even if I could. Ooh, no, okay. He's to be God-fearing, a leader, manly, and smelling like brute. What is that? I don't even know what he's talking about. But like this video if you haven't already. Definitely. I'm right now I'm reading the book of Genesis. I don't think that the women in the Bible settle. We just finished reading up the book of Genesis. Shout out to Dre from Harrison Family Values, because we're reading the Bible in 1 year. And we're reading about how women in the Bible didn't settle. Like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they were all fruitful. They all were men that strived to be leaders. They were considered the alpha males of today, pretty much. Those women did not settle for anything. They got quality men. They didn't date any bums. So if they didn't do it in the Bible, I'm not doing it in real life. I'm not doing it here. Oh, old school cologne. Okay. Y'all don't know about the old school cologne. Y'all over here laughing. See, Abraham sent his servant to his land. He didn't say go over there with the Canaanites. Okay? He said go back to my land to find a wife for Isaac. Exactly. And that's when he found Rebecca, because God said, hey, like basically Abraham wanted to make sure that he had a good wife for his son, Isaac. And it was like, okay, if the wife for Isaac not only gives water to Isaac when he asks for a drink, but she also gives water to the donkeys and to the animals that were there with, I don't want to say donkeys, but to the animals that were with Isaac, then that's when he knew that would be the wife for Isaac. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to, I hope I said that right. No, I did not say that right. Let me repeat this again. So pretty much Abraham sent his servant over to find a wife for Isaac, right? And the servant was like, okay, hopefully this lady will give me drink and will give my livestock drink as well. Okay. And if she does, then that's the one for Isaac. And that's what happened. That servant was able to get a drink from Isaac's now wife at the time, which is Rebecca, and that's how that went. Okay? So definitely, if Isaac didn't have to settle, then that means that we shouldn't have to settle as well. Okay? That's it. But Successful Melanated Dusty said, a bad and negative spirit can make a beautiful outer appearance be for naught. See, Proverbs tells us a lot about that. Proverbs tells us that you have to be careful of that adulterous woman. You have to be careful of that woman that's for the streets. Be careful of, there was like in one of the versions of this particular verse in Proverbs, it says, be careful of the woman with the eyelashes. Not all eyelashes, of course. You got little short ones, that's fine. Not the fur eyelashes, okay? In that case, then, be careful of those women that appease you with the outer appearance, and that's all they have to offer. Okay, literally Proverbs chapter 5. I'm trying to find it now. But in Proverbs chapter 5, it talks about that. I wanted to read some of those verses. Like literally it says, my son, pay attention to my wisdom. Turn your ear to my words of insight. Like her feet go down to death. Her steps lead straight to the grave. Lead straight to the grave. She gives no thought to the way of life, but her paths wander aimlessly but she does not know it. See, that's what I'm saying. Like in the case for Lori Harvey, I feel like her past, like she gives no thought to the way of life. Like, what is your end goal? That's my only thing. And serial dating does not give you a positive end result. It gives you a resume, but not the resume you want. So she gives no thoughts to the way of life. Her paths wander aimlessly, but she does not know it. Where are you trying to go? That's all I want to know. And shout out to Mr. Bobby Wright for being in the chat. I appreciate you. Yes. So at the end of the day, I just want to ask y'all, why should y'all settle? Men don't. Women, we shouldn't as well. Lesson number 2, she knows how to exit stage left. Don't stay in a relationship that doesn't serve you. You shouldn't. And like my auntie Carolyn said up here, don't settle, Chelsea. Yes, I have in the past. I can be true and say I have in the past, but I will not going forward, because it's just so different. I'm grateful to be in a different season in my life where I actually know my worth, because I've had points in time where I didn't know my worth, but now that I do, I'm never settling. So y'all heard it here today. No one should settle. Y'all heard it here today. Chelsea will not be settling. Okay, if Chelsea is in something, it's because she did not settle. And I don't think we should have to. Nobody should. And I pray that y'all are not as well, because we only have one life to live. I've been to enough funerals to know that it's about impact. It's about realizing that you got one life to live. Why let somebody ruin that life? Why not pick what you really desire in this lifetime that you have? Life is too short. And if you're not picking what you want in this lifetime, you're solely existing and you're not living. And I want to live with intent. I want to live on purpose. And I want to live all for the glory of God. And I know God wouldn't want me to settle. And why do I know that? Again, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20, which says, now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us. If you ask for it, God sees fit for you to have that, then he will make a way for you. He will allow you to have that. That's just what it is. So yes, I appreciate y'all for being here. Christina said, you have done too much work on yourself to settle, and you are ready for no less than a kingdom man. Okay, sis, come through. Come through. Yes, amen. Woo, that's what I'm saying. Like, when we put that work in, we will see the fruits that we reap from that. Okay, you sow sparingly, you reap sparingly, and that comes in all aspects. So don't be stingy with yourself. Don't be stingy with your wealth. Don't be stingy with anything that's God's. We are all God's creation. Like Latanya said, we are all beautiful people in some way, shape, or form, right? Truthfully. So with that being the case, when we work on ourselves daily, we invest in ourselves, we sow into others, then we should expect that same reaping at some point in time. May not be directly from you, but it could be from somebody else. Like, it's not about your benefit, it's about the benefit of others. So yes, amen. I'm ready for no less than a kingdom man. Okay, come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, but I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. Okay, and Lori is living by that lifestyle. She's living by that hypergamy lifestyle where she's saying she wants a marriage into an equal or higher caste or social group. That's what she wants. She's not settling for less. I think we could take that away from her. Is that one thing? She's not settling. She knows her worth. She knows her values. So I think if we take that and apply that to the biblical relationships we have, godly relationships we can have fruitful relationships. Straight to the grave, okay? Exactly. So I appreciate y'all so much for being here. Hit that like button if you haven't already. And I pray that I can see y'all in the next episode next week of Chelsea's Live Line. But until then, stay safe, stay blessed, and don't be for the streets, y'all. That's all I got to say. Take care.